Okay, so in this video I'm going to take you through how I made this brick wall diorama here. And so this is my first attempt at really making a diorama, so I'll take you through how I went through all the different steps and everything. So the first thing I did is I took this foam here and cut out pieces for the bottom, back, and sides. So just to make sure that they're all the right height and everything before I do the rest. So now I'm starting on the back side, which is going to be the main brick wall, and I measured out the height of each brick for a 1/12 scale, so that was 3/16 of an inch. So I did that for the whole back wall, which did take a while. And then I just took a ballpoint pen and drew all the lines in and pressed lightly down so that it actually made the indentions. And now I'm going through and marking the width of each brick, which I believe was 10/16 of an inch. So what I did is I just marked it on the very bottom. So I'm doing every other row of bricks right here, and then after this I'll go back through and mark the alternate rows of bricks so that they're staggered right here. So I'm marking all those there and just sort of staggering them in between so that we have that staggered look that most bricks have. And this can get a little bit confusing when you're going through all the different lines, so you got to take your time, because there was a few spots where I messed up where they weren't quite staggered how I wanted them. So here what I'm doing is just basically making sure that it looks okay with an action figure. So I'm going to put Doc Ock there because he's one of the taller figures, and then making sure that it still looks okay with these side pieces. So now what I'm going to do is just do the same thing with these side pieces, marking the height and marking all the rows of bricks again on these side pieces, and then I'll go through and do the width of the side pieces for the bricks, because these are going to be the brick walls that are going to surround it. Once again, just marking these bricks and then going through and marking the alternate rows so that they're staggered once again. And then here I'm just marking sort of the outside edge so that when I put it on my shelf, it's not just pink foam. I can see the side. Once again, doing the same thing for this other side here. So now what I'm doing here is you just have a crumpled up piece of tinfoil and you rub it around on all the brick, so it gives it sort of that weathered texture and that sort of rough texture. And here I'm doing it on the bottom, which is going to be like concrete. And so this is what it looks like so far. And now what I'm going to do is mix a little bit of this cheap black paint from Walmart in with this Mod Podge. So Mod Podge is just basically like a glue and sealer. So I'm going to mix those together, and then I'm painting the bottom or the ground right now, which is going to be the concrete and stuff, with it and sealing it, and then painted it with a gray, and then went over it with like a really thick black wash, which a black wash is just basically mainly water with a little bit of black paint. So I did that so that it gives it a little bit of different color. Now I'm going through and sealing the brick walls so that it's sealed so it doesn't absorb all the paint. So I did the back. Now I'm doing the sides, and the sealer you put on there, and it just helps it not absorb the paint as much. So now I'm sealing the sides of the brick walls. And now once it's sealed, I went back through and I mixed up like a brick red paint and painted the sides. So I'm switching it out, so while the sides are drying, I'll go ahead and paint the back part with that same brick red color. So to make the brick red color, I mixed red, brown, and a little bit of black, and that's pretty much it. So now these sides are dry, so I just use the same mixture, except for I added a little bit more brown and a little more black, so that I can go through and make some of these bricks darker so it looks more realistic. And now here I'm adding the sort of white or tannish color and now the orangish color to sort of have variations in the brick. Now I'm going to do that same thing on the back piece with the darker brown or darker reddish color, the white, and then the orange, which I actually went back through and I ended up painting over the sort of tan and orange colors with that dark red color, because I thought the white and the orange colors stuck out a little too much. And you'll see that at the end of the video when I show you the final product. But now what I'm doing in this moment is I'm taking this spackle, just cheap spackle from Walmart. I think it was $2 or $3. You just wipe it on there after the paint's dried, and then you just slop it on there, and then you scrape most of it off. You use a damp towel to wipe off the excess. So you actually get the grout down in those grooves, so it looks like it's actually brick. And here I'm doing a really light black wash so that it gives it a weathered look, which once again is just mainly water with a little bit of black paint. And now I'm going to do it to the back, do the spackle, wipe it off, and then use the black wash over it. And I sort of wiped off a little bit too much of the spackle on this back part, because you want to leave some in there so that it goes in the cracks and crevices. I wiped it off a little too much, but here is what it looks like before I painted the white and orange bricks. So you can see sort of that black wash, how it gets down in there. It gives it a little bit of a weathered look. And you can see there I wiped a little bit too much of that grout off. But you can see the sides look a little bit better. And then the ground, so I did the gray paint with the black wash on top. So it gives it that sort of weathered concrete or asphalt type look. So it turned out pretty good there. And then here I just put Doc Ock and Spider-Man on there so I could see sort of how it looks with figures on it and the height and everything. I should have probably made it a little bit taller, but I wanted it to fit on my shelf. So I couldn't make it too much taller or it wouldn't have fit on my shelf. So right here you'll see me putting it actually on my shelf, and I did paint over the orange and tan bricks, so now they're all dark now, which looks a lot better. It doesn't look so fake, I guess. Then I turned on my light that I have on my shelf so you can see it a little bit better. Looks pretty good. The back I could have done a little bit better on. And then I'll put my action figures on there so you can see it with some figures. This is going to be my Spider-Man shelf. And one of the things you can see on the outside is I actually made the outside look like brick as well in the concrete so that it didn't look just like foam on the outside. But you can see those figures look pretty good in there. Looks pretty nice. Nice backdrop. And you can see a little bit better here on the outside how I made it look like brick and stuff, so that it's not just like a straight edge and stuff on the outside. And I'll probably use this a lot for some of my stop motions that I do. This will be a really cool backdrop for that, like Spider-Man, Daredevil, all those street level characters. And but when I'm not doing stop motions, I wanted it to be up here so I can still display it when I'm not using it. So thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and have a great day.